Hi, welcome back to the Man Eater channel. And the trilogy is ending with white supremacy because this is the black man's kryptonite. Okay, and personally, myself and a lot of other women that I have had discussions with, we view white supremacy as a weakness and a crutch for black males because, we don't believe white people are supreme. We've showed in so many different areas where black people have had dominance. We've had dominance in sports, entertainment. We showed our dominance in the surgical field where we had Dr. Vivian Green, who was the first one to perfect heart transplants. We have Dr. Charles Richard Drew, who perfected and created the blood transfusion. We have Garrett A. Morgan, who perfected the traffic light and built the first gas mask. And like I said, so many athletics, inventors, artists, and so many other areas we have shown our dominance. So most of us don't believe in white supremacy. It is just a crutch for black men to hide under. When in actuality, what black men need to do is to compete more on a higher level. And how we do that is through manufacturing. And I'm not saying anything new because Dr. Claude Anderson has been beating that horse since I believe the 70s, maybe the 60s. I'm only 48, and Dr. Claude Anderson has been around for a while trying to deliver this message. But white supremacy is a hoax. And by the time this video is finished, I hope a lot of black males understand how damaging it is to continue to keep up this cloak of white supremacy and how it's affecting you and controlling your whole lives, because one of the key tenets in white supremacy is your belief in it. And if you want to know anything about belief or spiritual stuff, watch this movie called The Conjuring. It was very pertinent that this young lady believed in what was going on around her in order for it to have any real effect over her. So what you're doing is you're damaging generations of young males or whatever, and every generation is guilty of it by constantly conveying this message of white supremacy, because white people are not supreme. White people have the advantage over us because they have all the money. They have all the economic advantage over us. They have I want to say like the judicial uh, advantage over us in courts because they have more lawyers in their communities that they can turn to or whatever. They have a lot more legislators in their pockets or whatever. Our people don't work for us. The first thing our people do is sell out. And it's not because anybody's forcing them. It's just because we've become so comfortable in nesting in the white man's house. You know, we become so comfortable with that instead of competing on a higher level. And Dr. Claude Anderson have been preaching that for the longest and telling you over and over again how we will be locked out and become an ineffective group if we don't compete on a major level. And that is how you beat what you call white supremacy and this white dominance. It's really nothing to it. Once you start to create a business, if you've been in business before, and let me say, like, yes, I've ran small business, took my own money and invested in that business. When I was 16 years old, I started a little cleaning business or whatever. So I've always had an entrepreneur spirit. And yes, I have invested in that. I was self-taught. I self-taught myself how to invest in the stock market, crypto. I learned these things through the guidance of Yahoo Finance and well-established crypto investors and stuff, and reading a lot of the articles or whatever. So you kind of say that's self-taught when you didn't go to school and you didn't really have anybody over you overseeing your learning experience or whatever. So self-taught. So I just wanted to say that to solidify why I can speak on business, because I've had experiences in it. I had a small medical billing business, and the government was outsourcing at the time, so I could not compete. I was charging $5. The Indians were charging 5 cents. So you can't, $5 versus 5 cents. 5 cents is going to win every time. So I have a lot of experience, ups and downs in business. So that's what qualifies me to speak on what I'm about to speak on, because a lot of stupid, ignorant YouTubers like to get on here and say you're not qualified to speak on certain things. So there's my qualification right there. So now, like I was saying, continuing this constant mantra of white supremacists are holding you back and doing all of these things to you to prevent you from being successful is a huge lie. And you have young men growing up thinking that, man, I want to do this, I want to do that, but it's some white supremacist that's going to be there to stop me. And in all actuality, it's not the truth. The problem is a lot of you men do not want to put your money together. You do not want to put in the work of what it would take to build these manufacturing hubs. And I'm going to get into manufacturing towards the end of this video, because that's the only way to beat this thing that you call white supremacy. And I know a lot of men, I don't mean to be disrespectful to any of the men of the past, Dr. King, Martin Luther King, Minister Farrakhan, and I'm not a Muslim, but out of respect, I'll say the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. And these people have, said these things, Claude Anderson, these people have told you the importance, of self-sufficiency and building for your own. And that's how you create power within the black networking structure or whatever, and just in the world. That's how you gain respect, by creating products and producing and competing on a higher level versus nesting, right? Because we find ourselves getting upset and right away we want to run to white supremacy. Even myself, I was guilty of it, because I've been wanting to get with Robert Half. That's a Fortune 500 company. I was upset about that I wasn't chosen. I was so upset. I kept getting these emails from them or whatever. Like, they were trying to be encouraging, but yet never really giving me an opportunity. So I felt the kind of way. I was like, they just doing that because I'm black. And I'm like, well, how the hell they know I'm black? Because my name is not really a typical black name. You know, I thank my mother for that. A Jewish nun actually named me in the hospital, whatever. And I kind of thank her for that, because my name does kind of help me a little bit. And then they see, oh, you this, but like, yep, too bad, because it will get me in the door. But nonetheless, the white supremacy, back to the white supremacy thing or whatever like that, we definitely have to stop, teaching that to our children if we want them to be successful and be, confident within themselves. Or you have to stop telling them that. And like I said, I don't mean to be disrespectful to any of the greats who have talked about white supremacy, but I really do believe that black men fucked up by instilling that in generation after generation of young males, because they use it as a crutch today, you know, and it doesn't help us at all. And now we are finally at the brink of the end, where Dr. Claude Anderson had been predicting where we will be at today. But I have this guy's picture up here. He is getting life in prison. This guy went and he shot up the tops where all those black people were in that supermarket, and he was able to go in the community, armed up or whatever like that. And he, when they caught him, he looked real tough with all that armor on, and he looked real gangster. And oh, look, he's a white supremacist. And look at him now. Look in this picture now. He looks very broken. Whatever hoorah he thought he was gonna get when he got in prison for killing black people, I guess he's not getting it, because he looks very broken. And see, you look at this guy. There's nothing supreme about this guy. And this is the type of young males that you're telling young black males that they should feel less than and subservient to. That this guy right here has so much power and authority over their lives, when he really just got the drop on you. He studied the place, and then he just came and he got the drop on people. And then that's why I say it's important for us to start having our own chains. Like, if we had our own supermarket chain, we know how these people think over the years of history. So we know we have these people who want to hurt us or whatever. I'm not going to give them a white supremacist stature or whatever. Like, I think you're supreme. You're not supreme. You're just people, evil people. They're evil people, and they're within every group. And they decide, to pick on soft targets. They don't go to the hoods where the real gangbangers, the people who will shoot it out with them. You see, these people don't go to those areas. They don't go where these guys got AK-47s and AR-15s and all this stuff that these drug dealers and real gangsters be having. You see, these people never go in those areas. So if they so white supreme and white supremacist terrorists, wouldn't you go for the gangsters? You will go with like, look, I'm gonna go for the con. Why would you go for the weakest people, women, females, or elderly people and stuff like that? There's nothing supreme about that. So stop. I think the message needs to be to stop telling, and maybe women, maybe we need to carry that it ain't no white supremacy. There is no fucking white supremacy. It's a hoax. We've proven, like I said in the beginning of this video, we've proven the dominance that we've had in several arenas. To be sitting down today still talking about some white supremacists. We need power. And how you get power is through competition, competing. And I'm gonna get into this manufacturing next. And I really don't care about who get mad and if somebody, talk about ignore her or whatever. But the truth is the truth. The only way to beat this system is to compete on a huge level in it. And we're not competing on it. We are consumers. All we do is consume. And we have people, we have small businesses, and that's not to knock anybody. I just gave a shout out in the last video to the sisters in Memphis. We have individual business, but we do not have distribution. We have no distribution. We do not have chains. So these people, if they had access to the distribution, then they would be able to increase the demand for their products or whatever, and be able to reach a whole broader strand of customers. But we need y'all so busy talking about women and makeup and subservitude from women and stuff like that, and it's just really ridiculous. And if it's not that, then it's white supremacy. White supremacy, and it's like the only person that could really limit you is you. And this guy, he was in the NBA. I was in a camp one time, and he left that message in all of our journals that the only person that could ever limit you is you. And continuously talking about this white supremacist bullshit is limiting you. That's what it really is. So I'm going to get into Dr. Claude Anderson because there's some things going on in New Orleans. And I'm going to get into that, the manufacturing hub. And I'm going to walk away from this because, I dropped my opinion. I dropped what I felt to be true and things that we need to do. So let's move on to Dr. Claude Anderson. Okay, here we go. Now, that was years ago when Dr. Claude Anderson had that, congregation of people, and he was giving them information. I believe that was a church, Pastor Price congregation. I don't know, what denomination they are or whatever, but that was in the church. But let's go over this because right now New Orleans is in a very bad situation. The people that are there are experiencing white flight in huge numbers, and they're kind of gonna fall apart. And this is where I challenge, black men to really. This is an opportunity for black men to step in. Here you are again, faced with severe poverty in New Orleans, an opportunity to go there and create some manufacturing hubs and get product going, so that in that way when you do that you create jobs. And we're going to go through that, but I just want to go over this first so you can see the status. Here it was telling you in 2018 the median household income for black households in New Orleans was about 24,800 compared to roughly 69,900 $900 for white households. Look at the gap. You can come back and go over all this. I'm going to go through it quickly. As of 2023, about 30% of black residents in New Orleans live below the poverty line versus only 11% of white residents. So only 11% of white residents experience living below the poverty line. So they're doing way better. And they've been doing way better since the people there since forever. Poverty among youth is especially high. 32% of black children live in poverty. It says wealth and financial resilience. In New Orleans, 71% of black households are in liquid asset poverty. I mean, you have no stocks, no bonds, no nothing. You don't have anything, no large amounts of cash, nothing. Okay, and versus while it's only 29% of white households that are experiencing that same liquid asset poverty. 33% of black households had zero net worth. Zero net worth in 2018. Zero net worth in 2018 compared to 16% of white households. Em- Employment and income trends. Employment rates for black men have declined from 63% in 1980 to 52% in 2016. It's look, 1980 to 20, look at all the decrease. That's a small amount of decreasage. Not enough black men have jobs. Black women's employment also lags behind white women, but that's not that bad. Go black women. 61% versus 68%. But I mean, still, even with that, that's not enough to uplift the whole black community. And you got here between 1979 and 2016, the share of black households in the lowest income quintile rose to 47%, while high income representation remained scarce and stagnant. So come on, man. This is everything he's telling you. All the poverty he was telling you. Here's more. Um, Least affordable cities. Um, Says black residents make up 4 out of 5 cost burden renters. It's somewhere in here said where 50% of their salary goes to rent. And here, I'm not gonna go through all of it because I'm limited for time. So we have a loss of affordable housing, segregation and gentrification, and white flight, which is happening right now in substantial numbers. Substandard living conditions. Here's another little breakdown of the income and asset differences between the ethnic groups there. And the reason that is because we don't have business there. We are nesting in all of these organizations, and we need to stop nesting and build our own. And this is what happens when you build business, when you build manufacturing. Let's say we have a lot of people that make soap. Let's just say those same people who make soap take that soap and make soap and dishwasher. And you're gonna build a small manufacturing hub in the state of Louisiana, right? And what would that look like? Let's see what that would look like. Because this right now, you have a great opportunity. A lot of people are already seizing the moment on New Orleans as white flight takes place. People are already putting together what they plan to put there. Was going to be a car dealerships, or anything, tech hubs or whatever. Somebody's sitting in the background already putting together what they're going to do and how they're going to snatch up this land. So all you high value black Negroes of America, here's your opportunity to do something like this. And this is what I was saying before. If you had at least two products, I'm just giving an example or whatever, because a lot of people make soap and make candles, and you can take that soap and make dishwasher, because these are common needs. Somebody's always going to need soap. Somebody is always going to need dishwasher. So let's say you decided to find the best, the most talented people throughout the state who make the best dishwasher, the most effective dishwasher, and the best soap. And now you decide to get this space, and this is where these people are going to produce it. You're just starting out, so you will need a limited amount of people, right, to start making this soap and getting it done. As you produce this soap, you're going to go out and find places to sell this soap. If that soap is as good as we think it's going to be, which we know it will be great, it's going to incur demand. More people are going to want to have access to it. So as you do that, what are you going to need? You're going to need a larger market, right? And this is when you have to go out to supermarkets and stuff like that and get that put on your shelf. And this is where you find obstacles at, because guess what? You don't own any of the supermarkets. But if you can prove that there is demand for your product, a lot of these places will take your product in and allow you to sell there. But see, the whole thing of this is it doesn't stop there, because once you increase that demand, everybody knows about it. What are you going to need to do? You're going to need to hire more workers. What are you going to need? You're going to need protection for this manufacturing hub that you build up. So you're going to have to hire security, right? And as demand grows even more, you're going to need marketing. You're going to need promoters. You're going to need people who will be able to commercialize your product. You know, you're going to need accountants. You're going to need attorneys. And armed security, because you need to protect this, because people will come try to sabotage us. We always have enemies. You always going to have somebody gunning for you. That's just the way it is. And when we accept that and embrace that and stop, thinking about white supremacy, when we embrace the fact that, okay, there are people who will try to attack us and do things to us, and become more prepared for these things, then you will be less worried about a white supremacist, because you will see that it's bullshit, that you have to believe that they are supreme over you. You have to buy into the fact that you believe that this person is supreme over you. But like I said, this is the way you compete. And it's no secret source into what they've built in the industrial complex. This is it. You start out with a product, you manufacture that product. As that product creates demand, you get it out in more and more stores, and you generate this revenue. And then what do you do there? You expand. That's the whole thing, to expand. And you want to become a household name. That is how you compete. And I don't understand. I don't mean this would be disrespectful to all black men, because there are men who, have an education, went to college, are upstanding in their communities, and have done great things in their lives for themselves, their families, and other people. But we have a lot of people who are drug dealers, who come out of prison or whatever, and some of them have ran into some money. So I don't understand how the drug game can apply to why a drug dealer can't take this and apply it, because they understand a quality product. They understand flooding the markets. And this is what you need in business. You need to understand, I got to have the best product. In order for me to compete, I got to have something that makes me stand out from the rest, that makes my shit a little bit better than everybody else's. And drug dealers understand that. They don't have manufacturing hubs, but they have trap houses. And that's where they manufacture their drugs. So why can't you take that mentality and put that into something legitimate? When it's all this money flowing around, and all these Negroes, y'all all got all this money, why can't y'all make something simple like this happen? This ain't got no white supremacists. Nobody could stop y'all from putting y'all money together, buying, seeking out the appropriate space. Can they put hurdles in your way? Yeah. But we should be used to that by now. And you just keep going. You'll get what you want if you just keep going. So this was it for me. This was the trilogy. This was it. Either black men are gonna go out and do what Dr. Claude Anderson and all the late greats and still here have been telling you to do, or it's just gonna be a wrap for us as a community, and you will continue to see individuals have success. But if you don't create this, like the community, there won't be any community. And we can't live in denial anymore. The tethers, the cones, and all of that is cool. But if we don't start producing at a high level, then it's over. And that will have nothing to do with white supremacy. That will have to do with you limiting yourself. So, yep, this is the black man fucked up. This is the end, and I'm gone.